intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Section 31 here in Star Trek Fleet Command, which as the time of us making this video is brand new. Like, there's no information out, and y'all probably want to know about it. Now, a good thing I can say is, just kind of ahead of a time, is even though it is a new faction, the speed to progress is actually significantly faster than a lot of the other things that have come out lately, which I think is something worth mentioning, right? So, like, if you were to max out your profits research and stuff, all those favors for Bajoran, it's like 260 days. Well, to get to the max level here in this one is, we'll show a chart, is significantly shorter. It's also nice that the way they set this up is actually in a more efficient manner to go for big pulls on your rep than a short manner. So there's some positive with this store that I will go ahead and acknowledge immediately, because if I don't, chat and comments will flame me. Maybe rightly so. But it is more, right? You have to do wave defense to do this. So to compensate for the fact that a lot of this is built around wave defense, which is a group activity, the amount of time needed to dive into this is less. Now, before we get too deep in, if y'all haven't noticed already, click your claim store. You'll notice a compensation chest for some of the problems that have been happening. And while Scopely has definitely been struggling with stability, again, Scopely, like, come on. They did issue another comp chest, so you should have been able to get this, give you some Enterprise EPA card charge, more ability to launch the waves, as well as a good amount of that Thalaron. That's your event store currency here, 3 days of December, and then 3 loyalty badges. So to make up for some of them, the issues and stability problems, go make sure you make those claims. Now, back to Section 31. Why do we like it? Why is it valuable? And what are the strategies? So number one, when it comes to reputation, you're going to want to double pull every single day. That should be your goal, to get that double pull on the reputation. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, thankfully, because we love charts and graphs and all those other fun things, we've got this right here to explain it to you. This is giving you an idea of the time it takes to actually progress. But more importantly, I want you to look right here where we talk about the cost of upgrading and what it takes to go to the next rep level. Believe it or not, this is a very rare thing. I feel like Scopely might not have even intended this, but if they didn't, oh well, it's too late. It's already there. Don't take it back. No take backsies. It's actually more efficient to double chest pull. Usually, if you've played Star Trek Fleet Command a while, you know that generally double chest pulling is not the most efficient way to do anything. For example, if we were to go to the refinery, just our normal match refinery, and we click on one of these, the cost per chest goes up, yet the number of mats you're getting is not equal to the increase in cost. It's generally less efficient to do bigger pulls than to do smaller pulls. Yet, one of the good things about the Section 31 faction is that pulling in the larger lump sums is actually better. It's going to cut the time you need in half. You see, these are the actual days that you're expected to take to get to those next levels. So that's good, but you actually get more efficient as you go along, and then it's not punishing you. It's as it should be. So we actually do encourage you to do your double pulls. That does require you to then, of course, be going through and doing wave defenses. So bear that in mind. Good news is you can hold 10 at a time, and hopefully we can get that feedback through, and more things are going to change as we progress. And there are things to love about this faction. Number one, if you're a free-to-play player, prime dolomite particles. Now, I know you're going to say that's a slow drip, and you're also going to be like, well, I got to get to Infiltrator to be able to even do that. Well, for those who don't know, and I just put it on the screen, but I'll make it smaller so it's easier to see, Infiltrator is rank 3, and honestly, if you're doing this regularly, that's not going to take you that long to start getting prime dolomite particles that you're going to start pulling, which is going to open up, 6 different researches that you can start earning towards. Now, again, with some of these researches taking 600 per, that is still going to take you 2 months to get that level, but that's not the point. You've now got a sourcing to some very important primes that actually have impact in today's game, and for you as a free-to-play or a light spinner, that has got to be a very valuable thing. I would say that it is valuable. And then as you go through, you're going to go and eventually get into the favors. Now, we're going to talk about all the favors, but I want to harp on one specifically to explain how it works, because it's something that a lot of players have asked for, which is Operation Hermes. Unlocks the ability to quick start armadas. Now, to be very clear, it is not a perfect setup yet. Shocker there, I know. But what I mean by that is, if you operate with Mr. Hermes over here, you're going to notice that the timer currently at the time of making this video doesn't change. So the timer stays the same, but it actually will speed it up. And here are some examples, thanks to Jules. This does not include every Armada type, but it does include most of the types of how quickly it's going to speed up in the cost, or the cost of speeding up. So you're going to see, again, just an improvement, but is it going to be perfect? No, but this is a heavily requested feature. Now, you will need to get quite upgraded to be able to operate Operation Hermes. So if you come down here, you're going to see Operation Hermes as Infiltrator. So again, that rank 3, which honestly isn't that long if you're doing wave defense consistently throughout this month. And next month, most of you will have it fairly quickly. Again, that's the chart that we showed you. And the timing of how long it takes to upgrade, I think, is just such a big point for me, because we've complained in the past at how long, like the Section 31, I'm sorry, the Syndicate XP. Remember, we just did a video about that. Section 31 is a much faster acquisition. Syndicate, if you're below level 30, was taking you hundreds of days just to get to Syndicate 21. But this is actually the Section 31 store, allowing you to progress significantly faster. And I think that is the key. The big obvious issue has to come down to, well, can you do these? Currently, yes. And as you get through them, the value, I think, is evident. Again, I'm going to put this chart back on there because it's going to take the timer down to 30 seconds, right? So it's the cost, but it's going to knock it down. You'll be able to get it done relatively quickly. There's still a slight timer, but it's that start now that I honestly never thought would come, because the game has been so adamant they wanted Armadas to have a PvP element. So you've got this as a big value. You got the Dolomite particles, and I haven't even touched on the officers or any of the other favors for that matter. Let me just go ahead and quickly say that the wave defense ones will have value to help make this process quicker, make sure that you're performing better in a wave defense. As you can tell now, that you probably can't beat a 10 out of 10 wave on the wave defense unless you got level 60 plus helping you. But these are things that are going to get easier as you unlock more. Then, of course, this is where you unlock all the PvP officers and a couple of skins. I'm also trying to get, I really am, trying to get the Section 31 Discovery skin added into the store, because it thematically makes sense. But you're going to also have the Section 31 Translink, which is going to help you upgrade the facade building, which also has its own bonuses. I plan on going over the facade probably in a later video, because at the moment there's actually a discussion of changing exactly what all these stats might end up being. We could have some adjustments to the actual effects of how the building itself works. So the big key with Section 31, if you're wondering, is it worth investing time in? Absolutely. If for nothing else, as a free-to-play player, you get something like this. Now, the big thing that comes up is, because there are so many grinds in the game, what do you start ignoring? And truthfully, that is something that you kind of have to decide for yourself. Personally, like, I don't do the Devore loops on Mondays. The only reason to honestly do them is if you have that Ferengi whip. And otherwise, you probably ignore mining Monday unless you just really want the rewards. If you're talking about what I also ignore, I ignore Swarm Sunday. Don't even do it anymore. And again, this is based on where you're at as a player. If you want to be happy in this game, don't let Scopely choose all your events. You'll be doing 8 hours of gameplay, and I want y'all to be enjoying. So this is something that you want to prioritize, right? The X-Borg is easy to prioritize because you do the sweeps, and that's going to handle most of this for you as you go through the research, and thankfully it's a little bit more condensed. And if you're a 35 plus player, then of course you're going to be working on your Bajoran faction. But augments, thankfully, you don't have to worry about this anymore unless you just are adamant that you want to get 75 independent credits a day. And even the rogue tree, believe it or not, is finally reaching a point of it being so outdated that yes, you want to get those efficiency researches inside of it, but probably the most valuable at this point is probably the impulse speed. So, you know, some of these can start taking a back seat to something that has the value that this has. And again, syndicate pulls, more syndicate progression for players, especially lower levels as you unlock the facade, getting rep progression. That's going to be nice for me. So not super nice, but it is nice. But the primary is you want to be double pulling this every single day. Yes, it has value. And yes, It actually doesn't take that long if you dedicate yourself to your group, whether it be people in your alliance or out of your alliance, doing wave defense. So this video was just simply meant to inform and educate on the value of the Section 31 faction store, which actually is pretty nice. I know a lot of people are going to love the Dolomite particles. They're going to love the speed up. It's not technically a start now, but it's a knocking down the timer of Armadas down to 30 seconds. And I think a lot of players are going to enjoy that. And then more and more could get added eventually. So Section 31, just like the Bajoran store, is one of the better things the game has added, even though there are a ton of loops in the game. If you're going to focus on something, wave defense, at least, in my opinion, is a lot of fun because I'm getting to engage with my friends in doing it. And every server that I've played it on, as long as you aren't having lag, it can be a very enjoyable experience. But again, y'all kind of have to decide that for yourselves. Don't let Scopely determine your gameplay. You determine your gameplay. I'm simply here to tell you what's valuable or not. Look, if you enjoyed the video, if you have more questions, drop them down in the comment section down below. Live long and plunder. Stay safe with our Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you on the next StarCraft League of Man video. And apologies for all the videos being so late lately. I have been having significant issues with my ISP, but I promise, not going anywhere.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.